Well, let's get the very latest update now from Beirut. SABC News correspondent Mia Alberti joins us live. Mia, thank you so much for your time. Well, let's begin with the humanitarian crisis as a result of this conflict. Mia, now we know, of course, that the Rafah crossing, well, that's the Egyptian side of the border, is also the only passage for aid to get in. What's the latest on that front? We do understand that, of course, hospitals are desperate for fuel. This, of course, is at the center of essential supplies, including food and water.
Absolutely. I mean, 1.5 million people without food, water or fuel to have electricity. That's still the situation at the moment. But it seems like on Monday morning we're starting to see some movements, not only next to the Rafah crossing, where there is expectation that Egyptian authorities might open that crossing now that Israel has announced a ceasefire in that region, in the south of Gaza. That could be enough warranty for Egyptian authorities to deem the passage safe. Again, it was closed after Israel bombed the vicinity for security reasons. And so now there is a lot of expectation that it might be open. That would allow not only aid to go in terms of the supply of water and food and fuel to fuel the power plants and the hospitals, which are closing down without electricity. Morgues are closing down. People are using actually those cars for ice creams to put some cadavers on it, and a lot of hospitals are starting to only have essential services because of that. But not only just fuel for hospitals, but also medicine, also supplies. And besides this entry of aid, which is paramount for the civilians in Gaza, it's also important to note that this could also result in some foreigners leaving the country to Egypt. We know that there are several Americans and even Brazilians involved in this that were caught inside of Gaza when this happened. Some of them have dual nationalities, some of them were there working, and so the opening of the Rafah crossing could be essential not only to give this very fundamental aid to Gaza, where people are afraid of starving or dying of thirst, but also for people to escape the conflict there.
It is, interesting that you mention, a situation with that troop, because we know earlier on Israel and Hamas both denying that a truce has been reached. But as far as U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken is concerned, he's, of course, returned to Tel Aviv. What impact has he made in ensuring Israel's conflict with Hamas does not spill over elsewhere in the region?
Absolutely, and Blinken is arriving in Tel Aviv after visiting a number of Arab countries. So after he went around the region to assess among some of these countries what are their expectations, what are their concerns, possibly to then extend that word to Israel. We know that Israel doesn't have open relationships with some of the countries in the region. The United States has, and so it could be working here as a mediator towards one of its closest ally with Israel, to tell the Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and the rest of the unity government what is the feeling across the Arab region, what kind of threats Israel has outside of its borders, what could be the consequences if Israel does decide to enter Gaza. These countries, most of these countries, I'm talking about Qatar, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Jordan, Egypt, they have all, and even Lebanon, they have all come in support of the Palestinian cause. And so some of these countries feel that if there is a major escalation, they might have to intervene one way or another. So this is the kind of information that Blinken has been gathering all over the weekend and now conveying to its Israeli counterparts in Tel Aviv today. So very important, it could deter Israel from advancing, or it could embolden it to advancing into Gaza or not.
Well, Mia, there's, a parallel conflict to that of Hamas and Israel that we're seeing in Gaza, and that is, of course, between Hezbollah and Israel. We understand that Israel launched another round of overnight strikes on Hezbollah. What can you tell us about that side of the conflict and how the situation is at present?
Absolutely. So far on Monday, things are calm here in Lebanon. We haven't seen any more rounds of fighting between Hezbollah and Israel. As you mentioned before, Sunday we did see an attack that saw an Israeli civilian being killed, and before that 2 Lebanese civilians were killed on this side as well. So quite an escalation in terms of civilian casualties, but so far things are calm. And we also heard from the Israeli defense minister on Sunday saying that if Hezbollah does not advance in this offensive, then Israel won't do it because Israel is not interested in waging war. And Hezbollah itself on the same day said that these artillery fires that Hezbollah is doing are just a sign of warning that it is not entering into war with Israel. So this is a sign of caution from those sides, if we can call it that. But on Monday we still did see the Israelis evacuating 28 villages in a 2-kilometer radius from the border as precaution to protect civilian lives. And in South Lebanon, we know that at least 2,500 people, including 500 children, have also been displaced, moving away from their houses in that border region. So a lot of precaution here. We also heard on Monday Israel accusing Iran of being directly behind Hezbollah's attacks on Sunday. Now, we do know that Hezbollah is supported by Iran, but both Hezbollah and Iran have said many times that Hezbollah is a Lebanese entity and independent from Iran's decisions, but it is heavily influenced, as we know. And now we also have Iran responding to those comments and accusing the United States of being behind Israel. So again, a lot of chess plays being done here, with Lebanon and Israel and Palestine being basically the board of that very volatile political game.